What is up, my Transformers family? Welcome back to another episode of George Reviews. Today on George Reviews, I'll be continuing my 1985 Transformers countdown. I am on number 3, and at number 3, we get Transformers Constructicon Hook. He's sitting here on the turntable in his alt mode. His alt mode is a Nissan Diesel KW-30M with Tadano TL201 crane, and that is a mouthful. But as we take a look at the crane, in 1985 we got a new wave of Transformers and our very first combiner, and Hook is one of the 6 guys that form Devastator. He forms the top of the torso, the chest, and headpiece, often mistaken as the leader of Constructicons. I guess you can consider him as like second in command, but he was like so brilliant and so arrogant, it kind of fit him to be the leader of the Constructicons, but he is not. Hook is unique amongst his Decepticon brethren because he can carry all his weapons in his alt mode. They all plug in. The head of Devastator, the missile for the head of Devastator, and the individual handgun fits snugly on the vehicle in his attack mode. And in 1985, Hasbro packaged Hook on a blister card, and on the back of his blister card was his data stats called his tech spec, and his tech spec reads as follows: Constructicon Hook. Function: surgical engineer. Motto: strive for perfection even if others must suffer. With the precision of a fine jeweler, performs his job with skill unequal amongst the Transformers. Whether reconnecting a damaged microchip or setting a 2-ton girder into place, snobbish, supercilious, unpopular, perfectionist, lifts 20 tons as shoulders and head module combines with fellow Constructicons to form Devastator. Now, taking a look at his technical readout, it reads: his strength is an 8, intelligence 9, speed a 3, endurance a 6, rank a 4, courage a 6, firepower 5, and his skill is a 10. Alright, let's get Hook down and take a closer look. Okay, so let's take a look at Hook. I got the parts off of him so we can get a clear look at his vehicle mode. He has a little bit more detailing in him than Scrapper does. In fact, he looks like an excellent crane. He has the plastic purple windows inside of the plastic housing for the cabs. There is a molded door right there, and then I don't know if this is a door handle because it's like behind the door, but you get 2 windows right here, 2 windows right here, and a third in the front on both of these. 3 windows on both cabs. This little square right here, I think this is a stair because it's carved into what would be the back of the hands in robot mode, and it is present on both sides. I believe that's where you would put your foot and climb up onto the vehicle. So molded in detail up here. He has chrome parts. Obviously the crane is chrome. The waist connector piece that you see right here is chrome. He has die cast parts underneath here. The waist connector joint is chrome. The arm connector for Devastator mode is chrome and articulates. Speaking of articulation, in this mode the crane lifts up and down. You can get it up this far. It extends this far, and the hook is movable and chromed out, and also the back portion rotates. You can get a full 360 out of that. So he has a lot of play value in this mode. You can play with him like a real crane toy. Anything that this thing, I wish this could have been on a string somehow and you could like pull it out and put it back, but that's maybe asking too much for the day and time and what this toy is. And since it's 1985, he has a rub sign right here. My lights has it activating like crazy. I think I've been touching it too. Just rub it up and reveal that your Transformer is an authentic 1985 Hasbro product. The wheels are plastic. They have some chrome on them, a little die-cast pin in the center of each wheel. He has 6 wheels on the vehicle. Underneath, you can kind of make out his body. It's not as bad as Scrapper. I mean, you know it because of the placement of the stickers, like giving him his waist or whatever, and you can kind of see the hands. But if you know, you know. If you don't, you might not. And you can see where his head goes back here. He has some molded in headlights right here and stickers for the tail lights. Most of my stickers are on this thing. This was my childhood toy. I think this was the second one I had. I believe the second one I had. And it survived to my adulthood. One day I was getting Devastator off the shelf. It's been many years. It's been over 10 years ago. Now, I was getting it off the shelf one day just to play with it, just to take it down, take it apart, put it back together, put it back on the shelf. And he came loose. I was holding it by a hook, and the long haul fell loose, and I went to grab long haul and dropped this part. Anyway, long story short, I broke the crane. This like snapped. I guess it had dry rotted over the years or something and snapped. So this is a replacement part. I had to buy a junker off eBay, and I had to like crack this open, like pull it open with a blow dryer and a butter knife and snap this entire piece back here. So this piece is not from my vintage toy or my original toy. It's all vintage, but it's not from my original as a kid. So this is like 90% my original hook from my childhood. I think, let's show you how to place the connector pieces, the weaponized pieces in vehicle mode. He has a big chrome tab right here, and you just in a big port right there, and you take that and just sit it right there, and the head sits right there. Then you take the head missile and put it right here. Okay, and then you take the head missile and try to slide it in. It is a tight fit. I don't have my Devastator wear his head missile, so that thing is tight right there. And so you have one weapon. You bring the crane down, it doesn't come down all the way with the head in there. And you take his handgun and you can slide it right in here. And here you have Devastator's attack mode. And he looks pretty cool. He's totally armed up, and he can carry around the extra pieces to reduce some of the parts forming if you see it that way. But still parts forming. On to Hook's transformation. We're going to lift up the crane. We're going to slot this little die-cast piece open. If you don't, you can't pull the legs out, because if it's still in there, this little portion right here locks the legs in place and you can't fold them down and you'll break the toy. So you have to slot that out, and that releases the legs. You bring the legs around, tap them into place. You bring down the waist, slot out the arms. Now on the reissues, these arms, because they're so tight, they're tight on this one too. But the original is made better, so when you slide them out, they don't come off. But a reissue, you will slide it out and pull it out, and the arm will be in your hand on the reissues that I've seen. Put the crane down his back, and mine is a little loose. I could probably fix it, but you know, it's cool, whatever. And pop up his head for the finish. And here is his face. He has a visor on the face. This is an unpainted eye. Well, it's a silver painted eye. Silver face. He looks a lot like the cartoon. In 1985, the 1985 wave, the cartoon made more of an attempt to make the characters look like the actual toy. And he has the face pretty much straight out of the cartoon, except for the red eye. This chest portion here is plastic. It's actually green plastic painted purple. You can see a little bit of scraping right here. He has stickers on his chest to make up the circuitry, the Decepticon logo, abdomen sticker, some waist stickers, so you will not forget that that is his waist area. He has some chromed out legs coming down to his feet, and the crane hanging out on his back. This is what we got. So his articulation is next to none, but he looks good. Looks like a total figure. His feet are separated, but his arms 360, and that's pretty much all you got. He can look down a little bit with a little bit of that transformation going on, but that's really it. This thing moves on his back, but you can't really get anything out of that. You can get it up like this if you wanted to, and he can still stand. You're going to get his gun in his hand. This is his laser rifle. A little bit closer look at that. And here we go. Oh, speaking of his hands, he has molded in fingers and a thumb right there. All four fingers in his thumb. The fingers wrap around to the outside of the hand. Same thing on the left hand. Fingers and the thumb molded in. So a lot of detail in this figure. Like I say, these guys individually a lot better than the other Jasalts. The The other Jassalts have the main torso piece that looks good, then all the other limbs are trash on most of them. There are a couple exceptions, but Devastator, for my money, is pound for pound or figure for figure is like the best combiner team there is. Well, outside of Predaking. Predaking takes the cake, but Devastator is my favorite. Predaking clearly takes the cake as combiners, and oddly enough, Predaking is not a Takara toy like the other combiners. Alright, moving on to the size up and the rundown. Here he is next to Autobot Wheeljack, Dinobot Snarl, Earthrise Grapple, Soundwave Superior, 1960s Batgirl, Marvel Legends Homecoming Build-A-Figure Vulture that I still not have completed after all these years. Alright, that's about all I got for this review for Generation 1 1985 Hook. I just want to tell you that he has no real variants out there, no real different color palettes, unless you count the Diaclone. The Diaclone's not really G1, but the Diaclone had a slightly different color. And I never bring up the G2 because they're the same mold, but it's not Generation 1. So he has the two different G2 color palettes out there. No official reissue of this guy, single package. You can only get them reissued in a gift set. If you ever see this thing on eBay from a Chinese seller, it is a KO. And then a lot of US sellers import this guy and resell him. They buy him for the cheaper price and then tack on their little fees and sell them. And a lot of these dirty sellers will sell them for as an authentic Generation 1 package Constructicon figure. But you have to be careful when buying this thing. And if you're out trying to buy it loose, you want to make sure that the waist and torso leg connector is not broken. Happens a lot because you got die cast on a little plastic connector for the legs. It's chromed over purple plastic. You want to make sure he has the connector piece right here. For Devastator, this thing breaks off for, I think it's Bone Crusher connects right there. Want to make sure the hook is intact. This is often broken. Hook is the single most expensive Constructicon there is, buying them individually, because he's the most fragile of the group. You want to make sure he comes or has the head of Devastator if you're not collecting the entire thing. And some people don't care about the missile. I know I really don't display my Devastator with the missile next to the head, largely because it was never seen on a cartoon. It kind of looks like Goofy with this giant missile sticking out of his head, not being fired. Real incidents, but my favorite moment, if I could throw a favorite moment in, is I think everybody's favorite Hook moment in the 1986 movie when Soundwave was superior. And Hook stepped up and was like, no one would follow the uncharismatic boy like you. And they just set it off inside a Astro train. And all the Decepticons battled it out. So I think that's my favorite Hook moment, but no really defining childhood toy moment. He was easy to find for me, and he was easy to replace. So you guys can help me out in the comments below with your favorite childhood Hook moments or any Hook moments, period. I want to thank everybody for watching another episode of George Reviews. The reviews are every toy has a story.